Hi guys, welcome to iNVision Prototypes. I'm Nick. Today we're going to begin work on the rear fenders of the M40C build. They're going to be created entirely from scratch, starting with this template here. But you're probably wondering why I'm dressed like this. Well, in order to accomplish this work here, we first need to go on a little field trip. And I'd like you guys to come along. Let's go. And here she goes. Aside from being a little smoky in here and a bit dusty, I'm really happy as to how this stump came out. So this is now ready to go and we can start on fenders. Hey guys, just reapplying this template here just to show you where we need to wheel this panel to achieve the shape we need. Now this outside edge here, you can see this rippling here. It's actually indicating that we have too much material around the perimeter and it needs to be shrunk. But we're going to work on that later. What we're going to do is focus our efforts in this area right here. Just this 2-inch band, because that is the apex of our radius right there. So just kind of indicating. Can't really draw on this paper too well because it's kind of buckled, but you get the idea. So, and we're not going to stop from the end. We have to go all the way to the end so that this panel flows into the next one. And the same applies down here. Alright guys, so here's our blank, and we're going to focus our wheeling within this zone right through here, like indicated on the template. Later on, we'll shrink the outside perimeter, and right now what I'm going to do is just kind of give it a general shape, just to put it through the rubber wheel and just bend the panel over. Now once we start our actual wheeling and I really get into it, you can notice something strange happen to this panel, especially down through here. This area is going to start going down, but it's because we're stretching all this material outward that we will have to at a later time blend this lower section in to bring it up. That's what I mean when I start wheeling. Just going to make sure that we're now making the driver's side, because this is the passenger side. All I'm doing is just giving it a little bit of shape, just to start the process. You see how well it works. All I'm doing is bending. I've said that before. When you use a rubber wheel, you just bend. And you can kind of see what I was talking about. This lower area here is kind of dishing inward. That'll have to be brought out afterwards. But right now, you can see, because this is so long through here, it's actually dished the panel this way. So let's start wheeling, and you're going to watch this panel grow outward. And then later on, we'll have to kind of tweak this side. We're not going to create a huge tux. It's not necessary. Just create some small tucks through here and just bring that in. Let the games begin. When you're wheeling, you need to get a good stance. Make sure your feet are planted solid and have a good grip on the panel. That's what gives you all your control. I haven't maxed the pressure out on the wheel. You don't want to bear down too hard and create ripples and waves by squeezing the material too hard. You want to consistently roll the panel between the anvils and gently bring the curvature out. See what I'm talking about? This is dishing in, and of course we can't have that. So we're gonna have to start blending in this material through here as we're wheeling this up here. So for every pass up there, or for every 2 passes, I make 1 pass down. Okay, and there you go. You can see how much curvature we've gotten by using our flattest anvil and just working it around this way. Now I'm going to switch over. I need to raise this section up through here. Again, we have to stay within that wheeling zone because that's where most of the stretch has to happen. We can blend into the panel, which is what we have to do, but we need to stay within that 2-inch area. And we cannot get into this outside edge and stretch that because, well, it's create more work for ourselves. You can see the panel really starting to dish in through here. Not to worry, we'll take care of that. It'll all get blended in. Right now, my main concern is to get the overall panel kind of shaped up and get the curvatures right. I know some people can watch a person wheeling all day long. Not everybody's into that, so just kind of give you the highlights of what we do here. It is very relaxing though, until you get your thumb stuck in between the anvils. Then it's not so relaxing. Technically, we can make a huge donut. Donuts. So you can see how much more we've grown, but by using a higher crown anvil, we've also introduced a bunch of little ribs, wheeling tracking marks. So we're going to have to work all that out now. You also see the oil that's being squeezed out from the panel. So I'm just going to give it a quick wash. You want to make sure your anvils are always clean. Now we're back to our flat anvil again. Medium pressure. And we're going to bring that center section out now. Get rid of that donut effect. I can see our wheel just a little bit over here, and I got rid of most of it. But we still have quite a bit of concavity in this area, so then we're going to focus our wheeling in through here more now. But I want to be consistent, so we're going to go all the way through, bring the other end up, and then move towards the middle. Apologize for the squeaky wheel. Has to be disassembled and lubricated. All right. Let's start blending and smoothing at the same time. I think I mentioned before, if I try to jam the panel into the between the anvils, it's really difficult. But if you go in on a taper, it goes in like butter. Okay, just show you guys the progress we're making. Ah, that's where it's coming from. Okay, so you remember we had that huge concavity here? I've got about 50% of it gone. And this has smoothed back out here. The wheeling marks, the tracking marks we had earlier, they've been smoothed out. But we are getting some puckering around the edges, and that's normal because, as I mentioned before, we have a little bit too much material there, so we'll have to shrink that by creating some tucks and hammering them into themselves. As you can see, we are getting quite a nice shape. This is the bottom, and like I said, this is slowly coming up. So we're going to keep bringing this up until we have a nice level, actually a convex area through here. Alright guys, we're getting very close with this panel, that concave center section. We've got most of that out. I want to go put this up on the buck, take a look, and then we're going to head over to the stump over there and shrink that outside edge just a little bit. This is the exciting part, to see how far off you are. Okay, so it sits in there right like that. Okay. You see still some tension in this area here, not allowing me to come down. So what we're going to do is going to take and shrink, create some tucks around this perimeter edge here. They're not going to be very large because you don't have to shrink and tuck all the way into here. You just need to take care of this edge just around the perimeter. So I'm going to create some tucks around this edge here. Okay, that's enough. Now we'll go smooth all that out. Alright guys, we're on the home stretch with this panel, this front fender section on the passenger side. Just blending a few areas in together, and then we'll go test it on the car, on the buck, and see how it looks. It's feeling really smooth in the wheel here. You can see how much material we did move and how much we banged it up on the stump there. And we've worked all that out. Okay, I think that's going to be it for now. Just adjust a few things here. Now there's a little bit of a dish here yet. We still need to work that out. But aside from that, everything else around here is working out quite nicely. A bit of material up here. We need to tweak this. All right, so let's try it. And there we go. Just holding it onto the buck with 2 fingers here. Later on, we will trim this back a little bit and blend it into the piece that comes in from the back. Roll that flange. This is making nice contact all the way along here. Like I mentioned, there is a bit of a dish here. I'd like to get rid of that afterwards. And make a flange on the bottom, and that'll get joined to the rocker, as well as this back piece here. Just trim this up a little bit. We are a little bit long back here, so trim that up. Now, just feeling this, it looks good all the way through here. A bit of a flat spot here, so that means we have to grow this area up a little bit more. But I'm not going to do anything until we get that rear piece formed up and mounted on the buck. And then I'll take the 2 pieces and blend the 2 together so that we have a seamless transition, because this is a bit high here, and well, we don't want that to have an apex through here. It has to be a very smooth and seamless transition. So, okay, I'm going to go take a bit of a break because this is quite intense to roll this up, and then we'll get started on that back piece there. Okay, get a clamp on here and just clamp that in place. Okay, 1 clamp, and it's sitting where it needs to be.